guys at the desk.
Thank you, Riv. And this is a perfect example. I'm really glad that this game happened after the last one, because it's a perfect example of a double AD comp that didn't work. And we can kind of point out the points of failure for the comp that they chose.
All the specifics. So we talked about double AD comps. They can't 5v5. Dignitas beat up Team Liquid. That's something you don't expect in 5v5s. Again, the composition is the reason why. And the elements that are supposed to be there that shore up that weakness are missing. No Lysandre for the heavy pick. They have Vi for that role. Okay, that's fine, right? They can try to make some early engages in, but they have really no good disengage. They've got Maokai, a team fight tank that doesn't help you. You're going to lose the team fights anyway, no matter how well Quas does in this one. Instead, you've got to pick the same elements that CLG did. Okay, Lysandre's banned. Fine, play Kennen. Very similar role here. You know, slower on the engage, but largely a very similar role done by that champion. Alistair was still up. Lee Sin was still up. All these elements that would actually allow you to get away from these, like Ahri's diving at you and the Rumble equalizer on top of all your stuff. Like, all that crap still existed, and Team Liquid couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, and Dignitas had some elements of a pick comp that was wanting to start fights, and then, of course, no way to disengage it there.
Right.
And no fallback plan with an AP top laner, no Rumble, no Lysandre, like you said. It's really kind of a disaster from champion select for them, and I feel like the way that they drafted that comp and the way that they built ended up being pretty low damage.
Yeah, they picked themselves into just a very odd win condition, or rather lack thereof, right? Where in that they couldn't, by picking Vi, by picking Annie, you've essentially disregarded any option to disengage, right? You've denied yourself the Lee Sin pick, you've denied yourself the Alistair pick, which also then kind of affects you in terms of having well, you do still have the Maokai Peely frontline, so I guess you're trading the Maokai for the Alistair in terms of her frontline and tankiness, but then you're losing the lockdown and the high AP burst that is going to force the team to itemize against that.
Right, you need someone to slow down the chase. Like Rumble, for what it's worth, I know you're a fan of this guy in this kind of composition, at least he can equalize when you can run away, and it's not horrible, but like, look at what Lysandre does. She walks up, self-ults, you're all slowed and take damage, and she claws out, or flashes the zonies or something, but she bought time for the disengage. 1 for nothing, not a big deal. Maokai roots one guy, and you run past him and kill the AD carries anyway. So, again, I don't think the champion works in that kind of composition.
I want to pull up our first replay. It's 25 minutes into the game. We're going to the top side of the map in the jungle because we watched Dignitas get a bit of a pick and see the struggles of disengage from Team Liquid. So we're going to pull that up onto your screen. Zyrene, I'm going to let you walk through this. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it's really straightforward. And here's the thing. We just talked about the composition. Peelers, like a Maokai, do not work if they are picked off. So start rolling this clip out. You're going to see here the pick composition that Dignitas have created for themselves go on to Quas immediately, and he is their main focus here. They want to get through that frontliner so they can get to the double AD, and he is isolated. The range of these double ADs, they can't retaliate at this point, and Shifter ends up getting a lot of true damage throughout that fight to end up taking down the Maokai. And then it trails off, and his charms this game were on point and allowed the pick composition to function. And Kiwi Kid, he started that fight with the binding and wrapped all the way around from red to get to where he is there to continue that engage.
Well, the chase potential still exists here for Dignitas. Sure. And that is one of the points of failure for Team Liquid is if you're going to have the double AD, and you're going to run into fights that you know you can't take straight up, you need to have a way of getting out of them.
Yeah. Or don't take the fight in the first place.
Yeah, simple fact. They didn't have
it. 5v4.
Yeah, it's pick versus engage.
Exactly. Yeah. So now I do want to talk about, that was kind of the turning point in the game where we kind of started to go, oh, wait, Dignitas can get back into this. Because Team Liquid did have decent control over the game up to that point. And, you know, we've been questioning whether or not the shot calling was going to be entirely there, whether or not Dignitas was going to be on point as a team. Yes. And I want to go into our next replay, because it's a decently lengthy one. We can kind of discuss over it. How well Dignitas had a few minutes of fantastic shot calling and team play that basically secured the game for them. So we're going to get that one up on your screen now. Zyrene, you're going to start us off.
Yeah, and when you're in these types of games, we've seen earlier today where people are picking late in the game in desperation. Dignitas starts doing it when they're ahead. So they start getting off Quas. They get the pick on the guy who's supposed to peel, and they end up just going all at him. They blow a lot on him. A lot of like abilities and ultimates are blown here.
I believe 4 ultimates go just to get Quas.
Just to get him down. And then Kiwi Kid gets Piglet's flash here, so he won't have it later on. And then they just regroup, and they do it again. The amount of calm they have on this team and the vision control of the Baron pit, 2 pink wards guarding all of this area.
There's 2 cool things. So one right now, Sivir's baiting. The rest of our team is down to the bottom left. It's like, if they go on me, we can flank him. Okay, that's not working. Instead, we'll clear the turrets or clear the wards, and then we're just going to go for the Baron bait. This part's super sick because they're like, oh, we're going to go Baron. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
But here's the situation. It's a catch-22 now, because if they don't check Baron, it goes over for free. If they check Baron, they just blew 3 to 4 flashes in that time we've been watching this replay, and they capitalize on it immediately with just the tiny little check there by Special.
And that's the problem. This clip ends up turning into 3 kills and a Baron instead of 1 kill and a Baron, and you push bottom lane because of it. Like after Team Liquid realizes, oh shoot, we lost 3 people, then they split push bot lane, but that was a very late reaction there. One of the more sloppy games from Team Liquid, but look, big glimmers of hope from Dignitas. I was like, Cloud1, you played over-aggressive that first game. The shot calling was a little bit off. This game completely turns it back around. Really, really nice calls right there. That was very clean, very well executed. Okay, maybe Dig got into gear faster than we thought.
Yeah, I'm very interested in what their calls are like at this point, what their comms are like, especially during those moments and when the bottom lane, which has actually impressed me the last 2 days.
Oh, yeah.
When they're just duoing in that bottom lane, 2-on-2, they got a kill on Piglet, 2-on-2 off Kiwi Kid, going really hard, and Core JJ following up. So far, they've shown that they can go toe-to-toe with the Piglet special combo, and that even when in deficit versus Lust Boy and Wild Turtle, they have something to say about that. So I really want to keep an eye on this Dignitas bottom lane and see if they shape up and improve even more over the next 2/3 of the season.
Yeah, and keep in mind, this is the exact same Vayne Sivir matchup that we're like, well, of course they can't win against this Piglet on Vayne, and they're like, Vayne Sivir, sup, we're Dignitas. Like, this wasn't supposed to happen.
That's it. That's all you got.
Everything in this game was not supposed to go this way, but Dignitas.
Definitely a fantastic scoreline coming out of that bot lane for Dignitas, a bright spot. I do want to touch on AD carries just a little bit because it was a point of discussion for us during the game. Was the Trinity Force pickup by Piglet, and we have a tweet from Voyboy, and he shares his thoughts saying, what do you guys think about the Triforce on Vayne? Personally, I don't like it that much unless I'm going for a tanky Frozen Mallet build, and I think we kind of echo similar sentiments.
Right, so Trinity Force will give you more move speed, it'll give you more health, it'll give you the Triforce proc in the first hit. Okay, those are kind of nice, but it costs the same amount of gold as an Infinity Edge. And when your team is already lacking damage because you're running tank, AD carry, low damage mage, you need damage output, right? It's the same problem we had with Kian going like Hex Drinker and random crap on Corki. Like, your damage output goes away. WAD comps, when you run a tank top, lack damage. And he lacked further damage on Vayne. There were a couple of team fights specifically where I saw if he had Eye Edge, he would have gotten a kill or two. And look, all WAD Cups want to do in the first place with picks like this is just make it a 5v4 and then phone it in from there. But if you don't have damage, you can't do that.
Yeah, and like you said, the huge part of AD carry damage is getting that Infinity Edge spike, which multiplies the stats he'd already purchased for himself. The only thing I can think of is that he wanted to kill turrets faster. That's about it that I could think of.
You don't even get tumble back on turrets, though.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way it's going to be efficient.
The Trinity Force proc.
Yeah, the Trinity Force, because you get tumble again, right?
Exactly, but that's all I can think of.
No way.
Yeah, I mean, there was that one point in time when Triforce was kind of that solo split pushing Vayne build, but even so, the damage output from
He followed
the
Vayne champion spotlight build.
There you go. Yeah, he's following your advice from a very long time ago.
So I think Triforce works as a Phantom Dancer replacement. I don't think it's necessarily optimal because you lose out on that crit that, again, we care about. And you lose out on 25% attack speed. But it does work in that context. It is not an Infinity Edge replacement. That's the big problem.
Yes.
Okay, there we go. Some clarification there. So definitely not optimal. Would have preferred to see the Eye Edge come in. Then the Quicksilver actually would have come in sooner as well and could have possibly saved him in a few moments where he did find himself caught out by a binding or a charm, things like that.
Yeah, I'd want to hear his thoughts on it, on why he went that build path.
All right, well, maybe he'll let us know. Yeah. We do have to top off the broadcaster mana, but don't go anywhere because up next we have Teammate versus Winter Fox. You're watching the North American LCS.
All right, let's go, guys.
Let's do it.
All right, let's rock. Let's do it.
Let's go.
Not going to be putting out huge damage, but able to still pull them off the fight.
Oh, nice.
Just get in here, Jarvan.
Oh,
go, vision. Go. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. I'm going. Smited.
Yeah! Oh, over the wall, the flag and drag. Timbers will not be used this fight. That is a big amount of DPS. Starting the barbecue off right. Gamsu hits a nice equalizer. That's going to take down Phoenix. This could be it. Piglet, however, he is roaming back and forth. Dignitas will pick up the match over Team Liquid.